This is a sales director for the Fights Real Estate team. I am calling because your home on Cherry Street just came off the market. And I was curious what your game plan was for getting it back on the market and getting it sold.
We're not sure what we're gonna do next.
Gotcha. So it sounds like it's still up in the air. Now, is this a decision that's you're not ready to sell now or you're not ready to sell ever?
Yeah, I mean, again, like I don't know what we're gonna do next, but maybe give me a call back like in a couple months or something.
No, that's very fair, and I absolutely will. Now, it's in such a desirable location and a wonderful home. I was just curious, what made you put it on the market in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, we were trying to go over to that neighborhood over there for a better school district, but it didn't happen. So we're just kind of, figuring it out from here.
Yeah, I got you. I can completely understand that. And it does sound like if that school district was still a possibility for you and your family, if you could achieve that in the next 30 to 40 days, is that something you would still be interested in?
I don't know. I mean, you guys are all calling me saying the same thing. Like,
Totally understandable. How about this? Very much for real. If you knew that you could get into that school district in the next 35 days, and that could be something that was very, very possible for you and your family, would it be worth a 15-minute sit down to just talk about that? And if it doesn't make sense for you and your family, shake hands, move on our way. And I know you've been hearing this a lot, but would it be worth that time for you and your family?
I don't know, man. Like again, you and the four other people that called just before said similar stuff to me. So like, why are you any different?
Why am I any different? That's a very fair question, honestly. And you know what? To be fair, I don't really compare myself with other agents. I don't really know what they do, but I do know that we've been able to help a lot of families in your particular situation sell their home when they didn't think that was a possibility. Now, it sounds like that next school district is important to you. Is this for sports? Is this a particular program that you want to get your kids in?
No, it's just overall just better.
Overall, just better. Okay. If you could get into that better school district and have your kids be a part of that program, is that something that would be extremely valuable to your children?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, otherwise we wouldn't have tried to put on a market. But I gotta go. So like, I don't know. Again, like I said, maybe give me a call back in like a couple months.
I'm absolutely going to do that. But real quick before I lose you, I am actually going to be in the area around 3 and then again at 5 at 2 different appointments showing homes in your area. Would it be worth 15 minutes if I could stop by and show you exactly how we've helped people who are in exactly your situation, who were unsuccessful the first time, sell your property in 30 to 40 days? And that means cash in your pocket and you're moving on to your next home.
Well, can't you just tell me over the phone?
I'd love to. Honestly, I really would. But for the benefit of both you and I'd love to get eyes on the property so that way when I'm speaking about how we're doing the process, it can be accurate, and that way I don't waste either one of our time.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me talk to my wife first before we do anything.
Absolutely. And your wife is a critical part of this, and I absolutely want her to be a part of the process. How about this? Would your wife be around this afternoon?
I don't know. I got to check with her.
Absolutely. This is an important decision. I don't want you to lose out on the opportunity to get your kids in that school district. And it sounds like that's something that's still really valuable to you. Is that the case?
Yes.
Absolutely. So I'm going to be in the area from 3:30 to 4. This is a no obligation sit down to talk about exactly what it would look like to get the most amount of money and get you into your next home. And when you're moving to your next home, do you already have that lined up? Are you already set to move into your next home?
No.
No? Okay. So it sounds like that maybe looking for your next home is a vital part of this process. Is that the case for you?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So how about this? Do you have an alternative living situation if the case being that we sell your home, we get an accepted offer in 2 to 3 days, and now a moving truck's in your driveway 30 days after that? Do you have an alternative living situation?
No, we need another place.
Gotcha. You need another place. So that sounds like that's a vital part of this whole equation. Do you have anyone helping you with the search for your next home and finding you possible off-market properties?
No, I don't.
No, you don't? It sounds like that might be something of value to you if I could get you in front of a list of pre-approved sellers who are very interested in selling their home that may not even be on the fair market. Would that be of value to you?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, sure.
Absolutely. Because I call home buyers and home sellers all day long, and I want to make sure that I'm providing solutions for people, not wasting time. So how about this? Again, I would love the opportunity to sit down with you and your wife. Is she going to be around this afternoon around like 4 p.m.?
Like I shared with you before, I don't know.
You don't know. Okay. Well, how about this? I think it would be very beneficial for your family if we had the opportunity for the three of us to sit down, because I'm assuming, I'm just looking on title here. It looks like she's also a decision maker, and I'll be working for both of you at the time. Would it be an opportunity for us to sit down this afternoon? If she's available, that sounds like perfect sense. If she's not.
All right, time out. So this is good. So here's what you're doing good, and then here's what we can improve. So
no, that's cool. Tear it apart. Yeah, I just want to learn.
Your tone is good. I'm hitting you with stuff and you're not getting like defensive at all. So that's good. You're asking questions, which is good, but you're not listening to what I'm saying to you, which is not good.
Okay, fair.
Right. So where I was like, hey, I don't know. And you didn't have, I don't know what she's doing at this time. So you didn't have a way to go around it. You just kept closing for an appointment. Now, what that's going to cause me to feel is annoyed that you're not listening. So instead, what I would say is something like, well, I guess I'm curious, like because if creates possibility, right? So if we were to connect under normal conditions, are you and your wife, are you guys usually available in the evenings or the afternoons? And then be quiet. And then they'll be like, well, I mean, if we were, right? So think about this. Like if you close your eyes for a second, and if I said this to you, Max, you ready?
Yep.
Here, close your eyes. So can I stop by today at 4? What happens for you? What happens internally? What did your brain do?
A little bit, the walls go up.
Yeah, walls go up. Now close your eyes. Ready? You know what, Max? If we were to connect, right, under normal conditions, would you and your wife usually be available in the evenings or the afternoons?
Yeah, the wall doesn't go up.
Do you see what happens there? It's different.
Yeah.
Look at Adam. He's yawning and shit, bro. This shit is too good to be yawning, bro. Don't do that. So, but you see what I'm saying? Like they're totally different. And then what I would do is I would ask about the wife. Be like, I've only spoken to you, Max. It sounds like this move is still important to you guys. I guess I'm curious. How does your wife feel about it? Let him tell you. Oh man, she's the one that wanted to move. She's really hip, like big on these school districts. She really wants to. Okay, so then I have to imagine, Max, that if she knew that there was somebody who could shed some light on the situation, give you some clear, specific reasons why it didn't sell and what you need to change to ensure that it does, whether you guys do that sooner or later, she would definitely want to speak to them, wouldn't she?
Yeah, it's fucking amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And just by you saying that demonstrates that we should get together and discuss the options. May I make a suggestion? Then I go into a closing sequence. So what's happening here is like, as we were talking, and again, this is just refinement, you keep closing, but it's premature and it causes people's wall to go up.
Yep.
And then when I was telling you, hey, I'm not sure if she's available, you're like, great. So can we do 4? Great. Can we do 4? Great. Can we do 4? I'm like, bro, you're not fucking listening to what I'm saying. I said, I don't know if she's available. So instead, I'd be like, hey, if we were to connect under normal conditions, I know you said you weren't sure where your wife's going to be. I guess under normal conditions, are you guys usually available in the evenings or the afternoons? And he's gonna be like, yeah, like probably like evenings. Okay, evenings for you. Is that like 6 or a little bit later at 7? And they'll be like, I don't know, maybe like 7. Okay, so here's what I can do, Max. I'll grab a pencil with a big eraser. Now, when I say that to you, what is happening to you internally? When I say pencil with a big eraser, does that sound like it's finite, set in stone?
No, it allows an out.
It allows it for an out. I grab a pencil with a big eraser. What I could do is I'll pencil it in for this evening at 7. You'll have an opportunity to speak to your wife. I can send you some information in preparation for connecting. If we need to change it or move it around, Max, we can always do that. Does that sound okay? And you're like, yeah, that's cool. Great. So before we connect, I just have a couple super quick questions to ask just to make sure that I'm fully prepared and I can provide you and your wife with the most accurate information, be the best assistance to you. And I will be brief because I know your time is valuable. Notice I did not say, Jessica, is now a good time. No, I didn't do that. Because if you say is now a good time, what are they going to do? No, never a good time. If I was to ask you right now, is now a good time? You'd be like, no, it's not a good time. And then the only other thing that I noticed, because I can see you, which is good. And the reason why I turn my head like this is because I'm listening to like tonality and stuff. But I also like could see you. You're not smiling. When I see you on media, you're like a happy, jovial guy. Like, be that person when you're speaking to people, right?
Yeah, I was told to tone it down. Is that?
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't want to be like, hey, like not like that.
Okay.
But you can smile when you talk to people.
Quiet.
Yeah.
Because I can hear it, right? So here, close your eyes. Ready? Hey, Max. My name is Aaron, and I'm an agent.
Someone else's. Put that back. I don't need it. There's other people here working.
Exactly. Somebody's parenting as we're talking. So, hey, that's what I feel like. Just so you know, bro. So, okay, close your eyes again. Ready? Hey, Max. My name is Aaron, and I was calling you because I noticed this morning that your property, it actually came off the market as an expired listing. Can you hear me smiling while I'm speaking?
Yeah, not really.
Huh?
I can hear that tonality.
It's subtle.
Yeah.
It's subtle. So one is like monotone, clear. Because remember, when I'm speaking to people, we think that communication is all language. You know what's crazy? It's the lowest part of communication. Communication is like 58% body language. It's like 18% tonality and the rest language. So the challenge is when I'm on the phone with people, they cannot see me. So my biggest tool for communicating is taken away. So what I need to use is the two tools that I have at my disposal, which is my tonality and my choice of words. And I need to use them fully. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So great job though, bro. Like I can tell you're making these calls. It's good. Just
Get
listen. Yeah, just get better. Yeah. And just like listen. When people are like saying like I don't know, like listen to what they're saying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And part of that is just I didn't know how to transition effectively. That's
I know. And this is a great, because the story of one is the story of all. If you don't know how to transition effectively, you start to verbally vomit. You're like, well, can I see you at 6? Can I see you at 4? Can I see you at 12? Can I see you at 3? And then what happens is people are like, bro, you're not fucking listening to me. I gotta go. Talk to you later. Bye.
Yes. Yeah. You're not wrong. And it's reflective in my appointment, my context to appointments.
Right. So like the idea is I want to create an environment that's conducive for somebody saying yes. Okay. The way I do that is I never interject my own opinion. Well, I think that the reason why your home didn't sell, like you're an idiot. Don't do that. Okay. The people are going to argue with you. They're going to be like, well, you'll be like, well, I think it's this. They'll be like, well, I think it's the market. Now you're in a pissing match. It's stupid.
Fair.
So you don't want to get, the way I view this, I remember coaching and sharing this with somebody. Have you ever like walked by something, and you could be male or female, and maybe your blouse or like your slacks got caught on like the door handle or like a thing and it ripped? That's happened to me. Okay. When we give our opinions, those are little fucking things to get snagged on. Just sit around your group of friends. You'll be like, I think the sky's blue. They're like, well, it's fucking aqua. It's kind of green. Like, they just argue with you immediately. So instead, if they're like, hey, what do you like? Well, can't you just tell me? It's like, man, I could tell you at the same time. I wouldn't be able to show you and prove to you specifically what it is that we're doing to help so many families just like you. And candidly, I wouldn't be able to give you that clear, concise information without physically seeing the property. Right. So I guess I'm curious because my job's to help you. I mean, it's never ever to talk you into doing anything. Just so I'm clear, is this move and getting into this new school district still important to you and your wife, Susie, or have things changed forever? And then shut up. Shut up. Do you know why we keep talking? Because we're insecure. We are filling the air with words that have nothing to do with anything. Because like you said, you were like, I didn't know where to go. So what happens? I start to verbally vomit. Like, it's like verbal diarrhea just because I don't know where to go. Right?
Gotcha. Yep.
So, and then you would be like, like either a definite yes. Well, we're not giving up on it completely. Okay. So it sounds like this is still important to you. You're just a little bit disappointed, and frustrated, candidly, that you were on the market for so long and it didn't sell. I guess I'm curious, because it is lovely. It's in a great geographic area. I mean, and homes like yours, while your home was on the market, like 15 others sold in this price point. Like, what do you think stopped yours from selling? Notice with my tonality, how does that sound? Like, why in the world did this not work? Well,
genuine
now
disbelief.
what are they going to start to do? Vent, which is what I want them to do. Well, the agent, the this, the that, the this, the market, whatever, right? Yeah, candidly, I mean, I do hear that a lot. Oftentimes, agents will blame the market. They'll blame interest rates. At the same time, as I mentioned to you, we look at these numbers all the time, and in your price point over the last 6 months, there have been 25 homes that have sold between 400 and 500,000. Did you know that? So the question isn't whether homes are selling or not. They definitely are. What the real question is specifically, how come they're not choosing yours? How did you happen to pick the previous agent? Now, notice, what am I implying there?
That homes are selling and your agent's not doing his job.
Yes. So I'm implying that the agent is the one that messed up. But did I say that?
No.
Because if I say that, they're their best friend, and they'll be like, how dare you talk about my best friend? And then they're going to start fighting with you and arguing with you. So it says like, well, how'd you happen to pick the previous agent? And then just be quiet, like, well, this, and that. Okay, I see why you felt that was a good idea. Notice, I'm in agreement. Okay, I see why you felt that was a good idea. That's an acknowledgement. Now, being that it didn't sell, you strike me to be someone who understands this process pretty well. Everybody write this down. Flattery always works. People love it. You strike me to be someone who understands this process pretty well. And you know what they're going to say to you? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely I do. Yeah. Okay. What do you think maybe they should have been doing so you could do something simple, which is just to get an offer and get into that new school district and then be quiet? Well, they should have done this, this, and this. And let's say they're like, well, they should have been giving me updates. They should have been doing it. Wait a minute. And I'll interrupt them. It's like a pattern interrupt. I'll be like, wait a minute, Jessica. You mean to tell me that your agent wasn't calling you every single week with an update and letting you know what's going on? And how come it's not selling? No, I only heard from him once a month, and all he kept asking me to do was lower the price. Well, let me be the first to tell you, you deserve better service than that. What are they going to say internally? You're damn right, I do. Yeah. I like this guy. He really understands me. He really gets me. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you strike me to be straightforward, Max. I'm the same way. And again, my job's to help you. It's never to talk you into doing things. So if you had an offer that was very reasonable, like very acceptable to you in the next, I don't know, maybe like 30, 45 days, do you think you would still sell the property? And I have to be quiet and let them speak. Well, yeah, I probably would. All right, well, just by you saying that demonstrates that we should get together and discuss the options. May I make a suggestion? Now, notice the difference. What you were doing, which again, this is just nuanced. Again, there was things about what you're doing is good. This is feedback on how we can get better. You kept closing prematurely. I only close once I hear that they're an 8, 9, or a 10 motivation. And the way I do it is by asking permission. May I make a suggestion is what? Permission to close.
Yeah.
And I got to be quiet. Because when you say, may you make a suggestion and you're quiet, it might take 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and that seems like eternity. Resist the urge to verbally vomit. And then what they're going to say to you is, well, go ahead, or I'm listening, or you know what, Salima, you can make a suggestion, but I don't know if I'll do it. But all of those are permission to do what? Proceed. You know what they're saying to you? I'm ready to be closed now, Max. You can go ahead and proceed and start closing now, Max. Yes, I give you permission. Isn't that so much better than like, can I see you at 4? 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 Like 100%. They're like, yeah, proceed. Awesome. Well, based on what you've been kind enough to share with me, notice kind enough to share with me. Is that an accurate assessment of reality? Yes, because do they need to speak to you? No. They don't care you woke up at 5 a.m. and you did your cold plunge and fucking did your morning routine. They don't care. They owe you exactly this. Are you ready? Nothing. They have no reason to talk to you, okay? So, based on what you've been kind enough to share with me, I'm hearing a couple things very clearly. Number one, you still would like to sell. It's not a question of if. It's just a question of when, because you want to get this new school district for your family. The second thing I'm hearing from you is through no fault of your own. Let me ask you guys a question. Do we as humans constantly and perpetually try to find fault? Yeah, everybody should be nodding their head yes, 100%. You fault the government. You fault taxes. You fault insurance. You fault that guy who squinted you wrong in the Starbucks aisle. We try to find fault with everybody else other than
Ourselves.
myself. Okay. So when I say through no fault of your own, Max, how does that make you feel?
Great.
Fantastic.
Fucking great.
Righteous. You're like, oh, I did nothing wrong. Hey, I'm such a good boy. I did nothing wrong. For that? So through no fault of your own, because you weren't getting great service, you're not specifically clear as to why it didn't sell and what you need to change to ensure that it does. So here's what I'd like to do, and I wouldn't mind because I'm in your area all the time anyway. I'd love to have the opportunity simply just to pop by. Now, when I say the word pop, how long does that sound it's going to be?
Very short.
Very quickly. You guys like, yeah, I want to stop by at 4 and fucking make myself at home and eat dinner. They're like, dude, I'm a busy person, bro. I'd love to be able just to pop by, take a look, see what it has to offer in person. And while I'm there, I'll show you and your wife 2 things very clearly. Everything after the word clearly has to be what? This isn't a trick question. I know I'm talking to agents. Everything
Clear.
after the word clearly has to be what?
Precise.
Clear.
Clear.
That's neurolinguistic programming. Everything after the word clearly has to be clear. What are you lacking? Clarity. Why it didn't sell, correct?
Yeah.
Salima gets it. She gets it. So, what I can show you very clearly is those 2 things. Number 1, how come it didn't sell? And number 2, what changes would need to be made to ensure that it does this time, and how much you guys would actually get from the proceeds you could take with you to that new home in that new school district. So then at least this way, Max, whatever you decide to do, whether it's sooner or later, or me or somebody else, time out. Do I sound attached to this outcome at all? Okay.
No.
How many of you guys have ever been in a personal, professional relationship where somebody's very attached to you doing something? How does that make you feel?
Terrible.
You're like, get away from me. It's repellent. It's repelling. When somebody's like, oh, please, 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 can you go out with me? Oh, please, 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 please. You're like, bro, get away from me. You understand? So when I say whether it's sooner, later, me, or somebody else, totally not attached to the outcome. You will have all the information you guys need so you can make the decision that you feel is best for you and your family. Notice, how many times did I say you? Like 5 at the end. Has nothing to do with me. Instead of, I would like to, I want to show you, I'm the best, I'm the neighborhood expert. Guys, that is repellent. Imagine when you do that, I want you to imagine your clients throwing up on the floor. Okay? Imagine going into like Dunkin' Donuts and then being like, Jessica, I don't know if you know this. I'm the best donut maker in town. Here are all my awards. There's a picture of me from 10 years ago. Huh? I got top donut maker in my office this week. Guys, it's like comically insecure. Stop doing it. Make it all about them, right? So I can show you and your family. No, so that way you and your family will have all the information you need so you can make the decision that you feel is best in terms of how to proceed. Does that sound fair? Now, why am I using the word fairness? Because we have a really strong concept of fairness in the United States. Huge. If we perceive something to be unfair, we freak out. Like everybody knew that I think like rich people like, pay to get their kids into good schools. But once we really knew, people had to go to jail. It's not fair. So when I say fairness, I'm activating that. I'm offering to give you something and I'm asking for something in return, and which is your time. And I'm like, is that fair? And you're like, yeah, that's fair. Okay. So if we were to connect under normal conditions, I'm looking here at my schedule. Would you guys usually be available in the evenings or the afternoons? Now, why am I offering evenings and afternoons? Who wants to tell me?
Because you time blocked your morning.
That's right. So it doesn't get in the way of prospecting. Yay. If you don't have a schedule, you're on somebody else's. Yay. For all you guys going on appointments at 9, 10 o'clock, stop it. Can you imagine your doctor being like, when can you meet me? Great. I'll see you at 9. Is that how that works? No. You call them up. You're like, yo, I need an appointment. They're like, yep. The first one we got is next month. You're like, what? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you want it? Yeah. That's ridiculous. Blah, blah, blah. And then you know what you say? Fine, I'll take it. If I don't have a schedule, I'm on somebody else's. So I'm okay with either one of those times. I'm also not confusing you. Like a lot of you guys give one answers, which is what you were doing, and that was causing you to get boxed in. You're like, can I see you at 4? 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 That's only one option. If I give you 2 options, what does your brain focus on? Which one works better? Do you understand? And either one I'm okay with. And notice, I'm not giving you times first. First, I'm giving you categories, evenings and afternoons. You're going to choose one. Evenings. Evenings for you, is that at like 6 or a little bit later at 7? 2 options, not 3. Because what happens to your brain when you have too many options?
Shuts down.
Shuts down. You guys have been at a sandwich shop. Somebody's like, yo, you want mustard? You're like, sure. Like, what kind of mustard you want? You're like, what kind you got? And they tell you 12 mustards. What happens to your brain? Fuck it, bro. I don't even want mustard anymore. It's too much thought. Like, it's too much. You got a yellow one? Like, right? So, don't create friction unnecessarily. But keep at it, bro. You're in the right vein, doing the right thing on the right call.
We roleplay probate, Aaron?
Here, have Jose do the role play, and then I'll give you feedback.
Big Jose. Ready?
Jose, you there, bro? Is he sleeping in like he's rich this morning? What's going on?
No. What up?
All right, good.
All right, Jose, ring.
Hello.
Hi, Jose.
Hey, hold on. By the way, that was such a good breakdown of a call. Like, meaning like the way you broke down, it reminds me when we used to role play back in the day. You used to break down, okay, this is neuro-linguistic programming. This is permission to close. This is why you give them 2 options. This is this and that. This is something worth listening again for you guys. Just an FYI. Like the way it was broken down, like, I don't know, Aaron must have drank something this morning or he woke up on the right side of bed, but that was an excellent breakdown of the call, by the way.
I appreciate that, young man. Thank you.
All right, let's go.
All right. Ring.
Hello.
Hi, I'm looking for Jose.
Yeah, this is him. Who's this?
Hi, Jose. This is Mario Marquez, and I'm respectfully giving you a call in regards to the Morales estate.
Yeah, what about it?
Yes, the reason for the call, I'm a local real estate agent and certified probate specialist, and notice that very shortly, if not already, you're going to be appointed the personal representative of the estate. And Jose, this may be premature, but I was respectfully calling to find out if you and the family were potentially thinking of selling the real property or keeping it for good.
We're not really sure at this moment, and you are right. We are a little bit on the premature side. Here's what I would recommend. If you want to send me your contact information, I'm preparing a big folder. And once we're ready, we plan on going through that folder. And then at that point, kind of deciding what to do.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate you sharing that, Jose. And I can definitely send you that information. What we find is helpful, though, when families are kind of deciding of whether they want to keep the home, of whether they want to sell it, is when they have a clear, realistic picture of value in not only the current market, but also in the current condition of the property. Now, do you think if you and the other beneficiaries really knew what the home was worth right now, that would be helpful to you?
Well, we kind of looked on Zillow already, and we have a pretty good idea of what it's worth. Unless you've got something different than what I see online,
No.
I could probably just go on Zillow, you know?
No, I thank you for sharing that. And you know what's interesting about the Zillow Zestimate is that when you actually go to Zillow and you click on their fine print, only 35% of their Zestimates are within 5% of the actual value. That means 65% of the time they're off by more than 5%. Now, for a property like yours, 800,000 within 5% would be within 40,000 of the property it's worth. If you knew that you can get maybe something a little bit more accurate that's closer to the number, especially with the actual conditions of the property being calculated, do you think that would be a little more helpful, or are you just wanting like, some sort of ballpark that could be off by more than, 5-10%?
Well, I mean, let me ask you a question.
Of course.
So at this point, I have not been appointed yet the administrator of the estate. Am I allowed to do anything at this moment?
That's a really good question. In the past, we've worked with beneficiaries that have started the process. Generally speaking, when you have orders and letters and you are actually appointed, that's when you can sell the property and close escrow. So let me ask you this. This will kind of make the decision a little bit easier to see if you can do anything. Are the other beneficiaries, or is there anybody else that has filed or want to be the personal representative?
No. Everybody is kind of on the same page, and everybody has kind of, agreed that I'm going to be it. We just haven't received letters. We've got court next month, basically.
Okay, so you have court next month. It sounds like everybody's on the same page. Normally in this situation, what we've done in the past for folks like yourself that want to kind of get a jump on the process is that we can start pre-marketing the property, taking a look at it, getting it prepared for sale. That way, the day it comes out or the day that you're appointed, the personal representative.
Hey, time out. What you want to do here is close for an opportunity to share information, not close for an opportunity to pre-market. So stop what you're doing.
Okay.
Close for the opportunity to share information via Zoom.
Okay. I appreciate you sharing that. We have a couple of different things that we could help with, Jose, but just by you saying that, may I make a recommendation?
All right, here's how that should sound. Okay, you ready? So here's how that sounds. So
I got
you're like, we help a lot of clients that are in a similar stage in the process. And what we do initially, Jose, is we schedule just a very simple 5, maybe 10-minute, no obligation whatsoever, phone or Zoom appointment where we can see each other. And what I can review with you is the following information. Number one, and I'm clear that is an if you guys did decide to proceed with selling, what would be that tight, realistic range of equity, right? Much more tighter than what you're seeing online. So that way, when you're having conversations with your family, it's just as accurate as possible. The second thing we can go over is some of these ancillary services that could be helpful or useful in terms of clear outs, handyman work, getting content shipped back to family members and things of that nature. And then at least this way, whether it's in the next 30, 60, 90 days, you guys will have all the information you need so you can make the decision that you feel is best in terms of how to proceed. Does that sound fair to you?
Yes.
So see what's happening? So you're following, again, this is good. You're following the right track. You're just, because you're groping and trying to figure out process, you went automatically to, which is okay. I'm just pointing out to you, like, that's not the place to go. It was like, we could pre-market it. Instead, when he was saying that, he's asking questions. Questions are permission to close. So you had the right idea. You just went to the wrong close.
Okay.
The close needs to be for information to send it to him to get in front of him. Because once you start talking about pre-marketing, you're rushing the process and he's going to be like, I'm not ready for that. And he's going to fucking hang up.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And then the other thing I heard in the beginning when you're like, I'm calling respectfully. That's how you said it. You're like, hi, my name is Mario, and I'm calling respectfully about like that. Just because you're using the word doesn't mean you actually feel what you're saying.
Right.
So what that sounds like is like, I was looking for Jose. Hey, Jose, my name is Aaron, and I'm a local real estate agent here in Oxnard. I specialize in probate and estate sales of real property. I was reaching out to you very respectfully, of course, with regards to the real property on 1265 Banana Street in the Morales estate. I was calling you simply just to find out if you, and it looks like your sister and your brothers, if you guys had decided ultimately at some point you'd like to get that home on the market and to get it sold. So notice when I said respectfully, I paused. My tonality went down. So I'm communicating to you emotionally that I understand the emotional dynamic here.
Yeah, I hear it in your voice.
Not just like, I was calling respectfully about.
Yeah.
It's like when people are like, like my cat died, and they're like, fantastic. Well, I was just calling. Like, no.
It's not in alignment with what I'm saying.
No, it's not in alignment, which is okay because you're trying to like figure out like procedurally and how to do it. But I want you to do it, learn it the right way, so you don't have to unlearn something later.
Yeah, that makes sense. Fair enough.
Mario, you started chanting already?
The probate script. I mean, I started chanting, but I'm trying to just learn the script. Just even figure out what the questions are, I think. But yeah. I'm writing down the questions and putting them together and chanting them, but just kind of even just understanding it, like Aaron was saying, like procedurally, like what's even going on here.
Yeah, and I know you got the probate course, so as you go through that, it'll walk you through like procedurally. So like what Jose was saying, he was like, yeah, dude, that breakdown, what I'm walking you through is like what's underneath. It's more important for you to understand why you're doing something versus actually like what you're doing. So like what's underneath? Like, why am I saying it this way? Why is my tonality this way? Like, why is that actually happening? Because once you understand that procedurally, then you can apply it to any lead source. It doesn't matter what it is.
Cool. Yeah, that makes sense. Because the way you say it and the way like if you read the words, it's two different worlds, like completely different. Thanks, guys.
How do you think you got there, Mario?
What do you mean, Aaron? Chanting. Yeah, chanting and role playing. Yeah, for sure. I'm just like, I feel like a little overwhelmed because the script's kind of long, and I'm just like, it just feels like
it's okay. But I've known you for a little bit. The tendency is to like. And again, I mean this lovingly. It's for most people on the call. It's like not thinking in time horizons properly.
Yeah.
So you'll get it and be like, yo, I want to be like a fucking wizard in like a month. And that's not how it works. Like,
yeah.
That's
for sure. That's me. Yeah.
Like, truthfully, I taught Heath this, and Heath, like everything that's in that course, I taught it to Heath on my team. He did 21 listings that were all from probate while he was a full-time cop. It took him at least 6 months before he could like have a conversation without having to call me all the time. And then it took him, truthfully, because he's been doing it for 2 years, it took him like, I don't know, 15 months, maybe 18, to where he's like, all right, I got this dialed in. It took a while. But like, if you do what's easy, your life becomes hard. If you do what's hard, your life becomes easy. It's like, this is hard. It's easier to sit in an open house and wait for fucking people to show up.
For sure.
This is hard, but hard is better.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jose. Jose, I had an objection handler for you. If you can answer this, you can help with this.
Yes, sir.
So what I'm hearing on the probate calls, one of them ones I got, I just couldn't believe this. I didn't even know this was possible. But the guy's like, or you want me to role play it or just tell you?
Just tell me.
Okay. He basically said, I'm gonna go with my lawyer. He's my agent. And I was like,
so just so you know, anybody who has a law degree, they automatically in real estate, like they automatically can they can do what we can do automatically. So they don't have to get go to a real estate test or whatever. I've seen that multiple times because again, that was a playground we played in at a high level. It was like 60, we took like 60 listings a year just from that source. That's difficult to overcome because the attorney they'll believe the attorney over you.
Right.
Because they have that like panache, you know what I mean? Like that social kind of status. So it's very difficult to overcome that. What I would say just in a Hail Mary attempt is to be like, well, I'm respectful of that. At the same time, I know that ultimately who you decide to have help you with the real property, like the actual transaction, that's completely up to you in terms of, who you select for that process. I'm aware, and I don't know if this is true for most attorneys, or your attorney, most attorneys, their primary vocation, their primary source of employment is the law. It's not actually selling real property. And those are two different processes. So while they may be able to help you with the documentation, in terms of like marketing the property, and, dealing with agents in the community and that sort of thing, walking people through inspections and appraisals. That's usually not something that they do. So I guess I'm curious for you personally, which one has more value for you? Like to have an attorney that's helping you with both, or do you think it would be helpful or useful to perhaps separate that so that way you get each professional who's a professional in their respected area and then be quiet? So that's like a very polite, thoughtful way to be like, yo, he probably fucking, or she doesn't do this all the time, doesn't know what she's doing.
Right. That makes sense. That's perfect. That's what I was thinking too. But it's just, they're, like you said, it's a Hail Mary because they're really like, they don't even, honestly, the guy even said,
bro,
like,
it's kind of like if you were to call my sister and be like, I can sell your house, like she's not going to list it with you.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care what you say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
So
Sure.
it's one of those, but like you could throw that Hail Mary and drop that doubt bomb. So what I love doubt bombs. They're like grenades. You just like bite them off and just like throw them in there and let them explode and see what happens. That's just the doubt bomb.
Too, what it reminds me of too, and Aaron is right. Like a lot of times when consumers are like, "Oh, my attorney," they're like this social status that like attorneys are more respected than obviously real estate agents. But what it reminds me of is like when somebody has a property manager and they're considering listing their property with a property manager. The only difference is that obviously the property managers are not as respected as an attorney. So the way I handle the whole property managers things, I'll say something like, you know what, you can definitely do that. And if that's what you felt most comfortable with, that's perfectly fine. Here's what I have noticed. Most property managers are really good at the management of rental properties and everything to do with finding tenants, assisting tenants. What I've noticed as well, too, is that a lot of times when a property manager lists a property for sale, a lot of times those skills don't transfer over to the selling of the property. And a lot of times I'm noticing a pattern that for whatever reason, those property managers are underselling a property or aren't marketing the property the right way. Let me ask you this. If there was a different marketing approach that would ensure that you get the best results for the real estate side and you get the best results on the attorney side, is that something that you would be open to? Or on the property management? So that's kind of the way I sell against, because I did notice a pattern. And I think that this is the same pattern. I notice a pattern that whenever a property manager markets a property, it's typically very shitty marketing, like very shitty. And I'm guessing that it's going to be the same thing with an attorney, basically. Like if an attorney markets,
like they'll take pictures with their phone,
with their phone and stuff like that.
Yeah, it'd be
100%. 100%. So I usually just say, hey, look, like you can definitely do that. So it's like a takeaway, like, hey, you can definitely do that. And if you decided to go in that approach, respect it 100%. Here's what I've noticed. I've noticed that attorneys are typically very good at the legal aspect. They're very good at understanding the probate process. They're very good at doing this. What I've also noticed a lot of times, and I'm not saying that this is the case for your attorney, what I've noticed a lot of times when I've seen other executors list their properties with an attorney, for whatever reason, some of those legal skills don't transfer into the marketing aspect of selling real estate. And a lot of times the marketing is a little bit subpar as to what it would be if it was marketed with a real estate professional. Let me ask you this. If there was a distinct financial advantage to getting the home on the market with somebody that only specializes in marketing, selling properties, and also understands the probate process, is that something that you would be open to?
Yes.
And just keep in mind, guys, like it is like a Hail Mary. Like I've listed properties from family members that were property managers at the same time, and then they ended up listing with us, right? So it's a Hail Mary. It's not going to work like every single time, but it's something that you have in your toolbox sort of thing.
Awesome. Thank you.
And that's where I would go to. And also keep in mind, like, at least in our area, a lot of the times the attorneys aren't as communicative as we are, or as the real estate agents are. So a lot of times, like in our area, like a lot of the attorneys, like our clients won't know what is going on in terms of the transaction. So having that person, that liaison or whatever between the attorney and them could actually provide them with a much
Hey, that's
more
Jose
pleasant.
speaking French. Did you hear that? Fucking liaison. Let's go. But yeah, no, and what it really is it's just like a money grab on the attorney's part. Like they know they don't really know what they're doing, but they just can get a commission. It's kind of like you helping somebody with a rental just for money when like you don't even want to do it. You're not going to do a good job. Like it should be better for you to like have somebody else help them. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, that's a great point.
Let me ask you guys a question. How many of you guys on this call have tried to do something in real estate just as a money grab and you did a shitty job besides me? Yeah, everybody should have their hand raised, including Claudia and Jessica and Salima and everybody, because you've all done it. So like I have compassion, like I understand why an attorney's doing it. And then all you can really do is like what we're doing, like surgically just kind of have that conversation, place that little doubt bomb, grab the doubt bomb grenade and just like boom, toss it in there. And then see what shakes out.
Say that again, Jose.
I got a quick question. What about the related question? We're going to use the lawyer's recommended agent.
Yeah, so that's a similar thing. And it's like, well, I appreciate that. And it's not uncommon for like attorneys to refer perhaps, somebody that they have a relationship with. And I'm not suggesting this is the case here. Sometimes the attorney, they get like a referral fee for referring that individual. I know that ultimately for you, this is really a business decision about who can help you net the most and do it quickly and efficiently. And the decision in terms of the selection process of an agent, being that you're the executor or the personal representative, is entirely yours. So what I find for families prior to them entering into a multi-month contract that could cost them some time and money, it usually is beneficial for them to get more than one opinion with regards to price, commission, and marketing. I'm curious, do you think that would be helpful or useful for you in some way?
So what I was going to say is a lot of times, and this all comes down to the root of the same objection, which the same objection is I've already got another agent. It's just a different variation of it, if you really think about it. So like the attorney is going to be handling the sale. It's very similar to like, hey, I have a sister, or let me give you a different one. It's very similar to I actually have a real estate license myself, or my sister's a real estate agent. The attorney recommended somebody. It's no different than my friend recommended somebody. So a lot of times, even with the way I handle it, I've already got another agent. Hey, look, I'm not sure if you're open to this. Here's what most attorneys typically recommend. Most good attorneys typically recommend, even when they recommend somebody, they'll recommend that you talk to 2 or 3 or even 4 different people to get different opinions on price, commission, and marketing. Is that something that you'd be open to? Which is no different than I've already got another agent. Not sure if you're open to this. Here's what most sellers are doing. Most sellers who are getting tied up in a multi-month contract typically interview different brokers to get different opinions on price, commission, and marketing. Is that something that you're open to? So do you guys see how it's almost like the same exact thing just by changing a couple of words or a couple of different variations on it? But it's really the same exact thing. It's no different.
And what ends up happening like this, what he's referring to is like the root. So objections really boil down to like a few things. It's either time, money, when somebody says or can you help me sell? Where's your office? Can you help me sell? What do you do to market the property? Can you help me sell it? Right? They're like variations of the same thing. Right? So once I understand what those variations are, then to what Jose's saying, I think sometimes you guys imagine we have this like unlimited encyclopedia of like in our heads of what to say. No, we have like 3 or 4 versions. And then all we're doing is pattern recognition. So what Jose is demonstrating is his ability to recognize that pattern. So when somebody says, my sister's an agent, or I have my own real estate license, or whatever, or my attorney's going to help me, he's like, oh, that's that pattern. So in his brain, he's like, oh, there's the pattern. Here are the 3 different ways to do it. And he just goes down the list. Does that make sense? Somebody says, any question that has to do with, can you sell my house? It's like, oh, that's the pattern. What's your marketing plan like? Where's your office? Which is, can you sell? Have you sold any homes in my area? What are all of those questions around? Can you sell my house? They're all variations of the same thing. So in my mind, I recognize that pattern and I'm like, boop, I know where to go with it. But I don't need like an unlimited amount. I need like one or two in that with that pattern. And then I can just, to Jose's point, I can just perhaps like augment it slightly to the conditions or the situation that I'm in at the moment.
Can you guys go over the I need to think about it? Like, let's say they need to think about the price. Is it typically, will you do the set aside and say right away, like if we come to an agreement on price, is there any other reason why we can't get started and then you go into it? Or do you handle it or you go through
Well, the first thing I would do is like, okay, and I'm more than happy to have that conversation with you. And just so I'm clear though, in having, prior to having that conversation, because I know sometimes when the marketplace, when homeowners can see what the marketplace has been agreeing to, buyers and sellers, not me, for homes that are similar to theirs, it may not be in alignment with what their expectation was, or in fact, what they actually need from a monetary perspective to actually make the move happen. So I guess my question to you would be is, just so I'm clear, like, have you guys decided that you're definitely going to sell the property? Because I'm here to help you. I'm never here to talk to you to do anything.
Yeah, we would prefer to sell.
Okay. So being that that's the preference, now it's just having a conversation about like price and strategy and where to get started and that sort of thing. So I guess my question to you would be, Salima, is based on our time spent together initially, right? Based on our initial conversation, based on what you've seen online, track record and reviews, have you decided that you would like for me and my team to help you with the sale?
Yeah.
Okay. So then really we just need to have a conversation about like strategy. And I need you to know, like, you're the boss here. My job's to help you. It's never to talk you into do anything. So we're going to go over the different strategies that you have at your disposal in terms of how to position the property price-wise, so you can make the decision that you feel most comfortable with. And whatever you decide, I'm going to support you. Okay.
Sorry. What if I were to say, okay, I am still interviewing other agents and I have an issue with the price?
Okay.
So,
yeah. So, but usually I need you to understand, this is me talking to you and coaching you. Why do they need to interview more than one person? What is it really?
Whether or not I can sell the house for them.
Sort of, but oftentimes, particularly if they're sticking around the price, they're going to list whoever tells them what they want to hear.
Yeah.
What they're really saying is, I need somebody to tell me what I want.
Right.
So here's how I would address that. Like, well, that's why I want to ask them, do you feel comfortable and confident? He's like, yeah, I do. All right, well, let me ask you this. Like, let's say another agent came in here and suggested to you that you could get $50,000 more for the property. Would you list with them based on that alone? And shut up, because I'm going to smash it right in your face.
Well, yeah, I would like to sell it for more. If they can sell it for more, then I'd rather, list it higher.
Yeah, which, listen, I understand completely. And I know that can seem really enticing. At the same time, like, let's think about this together as a team. Because again, whether it's me or somebody else, I just want you to make the decision that will actually help you to accomplish your goals and objectives. Who actually determines value? Is it an agent?
Well, no.
Oh, well, who is it then?
I guess the market.
Interesting. So I guess the question would be would you say that all agents have access to the same information?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, they should, right? So then why would somebody come in here having looked at this information together as a team and seen that your last two neighbors sold for $550,000 and suggest to you that you could get $600,000? What do you think the motive would be there?
I guess to just have me sign a listing agreement.
Yeah. And you see, that's the rub. Because you see, I'd much rather earn your business with integrity, being candid and straightforward with you with regards to what the marketplace is showing us, versus promising you something and not being able to deliver. Let me ask you a question. Is that what you're looking for in the agent that you hire?
Well, yeah, I want honesty.
You know what the great news is, Salima?
You found what you're looking for.
You found what you're looking for, team!
So just so I'm fully understanding, though, again, you did handle that question because the question was really about price again. It wasn't about the agent. So even sometimes when they say they want to interview other agents, it's typically
the reason I wanted to point that out, because I know you very well. I've gotten to know you over time. I'm aware, like in the past, when you would hear that you'd be like, oh, they don't like me. Which is horseshit. They don't like what the marketplace is telling them. So I wanted to really have you be clear on that, because, we take it like this personal affront or offense, and then we feel like we have to defend ourselves, and then we start talking about like how I'm different, and that fucking never works.
And strategically though, you do kind of flush it out right away. You don't go all three, then flush it out at the end.
Oh, well, Aaron, I think what she's referring to is like, let's say somebody says, I need to think about it, right? And or are they saying I need to think about it, or are they saying, hey, look, I'm not happy with the price?
The way it was presented to me was like, it was kind of like both, but I think what she was meaning is they're like, I have to think about the price. Because that's how she kind of like presented it.
That's how I presented it. But I guess later what came to me, a lot of times what we're unclear when I role play is if there's two things that they're kind of unaware about, I'm not sure.
So notice like what I did is I flushed it out just in a different way.
Right.
So I was like, hey, so just so I'm clear, like sometimes when people see what the marketplace is showing as realistic, it's not in alignment with their expectations and they decide to do something different, like hold on to the property or rent it. Are either one of those an option for you?
No.
Okay, so you're definitely going to sell it. Then I went to the second question it's like, well, and I know we spent some time together in person. So based on our time spent together, based on, the reviews you've seen online, my track record, things of that nature, do you feel comfortable and confident with me that I can sell your home and I would look out for your best interest and shut up? I'd be like, yeah, I mean, you seem to know what you're doing. Okay. Then you were like, but I need to think about the price. So then I was like, all right, well, and I get that because you want to net the most and I take that responsibility very seriously. Well, let me ask you this. Let's imagine for a moment that an agent comes in here and they suggest to you that they can get you $50,000 more than what this data is showing us right now. Would you list with them based on that alone? Because what am I doing? I'm politely telling them, I know what you're doing, motherfucker.
Okay, yeah, right.
I know what you're trying to do, team. So I'm just going to throw it on the table like, yo, are you going to listen to them based on that? And you'll watch them squirm. They'll be like, well, maybe. It's like, okay, thanks for fucking being honest, bro. Yeah. But now I can go into logically dealing with that when I was like, who dictates value? And then I helped you to self-discover. So notice I'm not blabbing and telling you like who does it. I'm asking you questions and you were like, well, yeah, I guess I don't dictate value. Well, who does? Notice I didn't say, yeah, that's right, the buyer's doing blah, blah, blah. I said, no, well, who does? You're like, well, I guess the market. Exactly. So I guess I'm curious, like, would you say that agents have access to the same information? You're like, yeah, I hope so. Yeah. So having looked at this data, knowing that the last two sales were at 550, what do you think would cause an agent to come in here and tell you they could get you $50,000 more? Because that's what they told me over the phone. And they'll be like, well, I guess they just want me to sign a listing agreement. Exactly. Guys, that's power. Where I get you to say what I want to say, but you say it. Because you will never argue with your own information. You will argue with me, though. You'll argue with your significant other. You'll argue with your children. You'll argue with your aunt. You'll argue with your uncle. You know who you'll never argue with? Yourself. And then when you're like, well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah. So, I mean, and I'd rather earn your business with integrity, being honest and straightforward about what's reasonable, realistic versus promising you something I know is not going to happen, not be able to deliver. That's what you'd expect from the agent that you hire, isn't it? Well, yeah. You know what the great news is, Sonima? What's that? You found what you're looking for. Let's just go ahead and figure out where we're going to get started off, right? And then we'll take care of the appropriate paperwork. How does that sound?
Is there a follow-up question? You say who determines value if they don't say the marketplace, like it's like something else to like.
Well, they're going to say it. They're going to say either buyers, they'll say the marketplace. If they don't say it, you'll be like, all right, well, who brings the money? Like just kind of like another way of asking the same thing. Well, who brings the money to the table? Well, the buyers. Okay, so would it be safe to assume then that who dictates value is what buyers and sellers agree to for homes that are similar to yours? Well, yeah. And another word for that is the market, right? Mm-hmm. You see, I'm just asking questions.
The other thing I wanted to make you aware, Salima, Aaron and I broke down this price question in one of the videos. I think we did it in like 2 videos. I'm pretty confident we did like back to back. So I'd probably go through Aaron's YouTube channel, and on there you're going to find the I need to think about it. We probably have done 2 or 3 where we break it down, like hour-long videos where we break it down to different scenarios. And we also have one where it's specifically, 1 or 2 where it's specifically priced as well too. And it goes over a lot of these different what-if scenarios, basically. Because obviously they're hour-long, basically.
100%. And there's a wealth of information on there. We're giving away like millions of dollars worth of game for free. But here's what, I got to hop on another call, but here's what I want you guys to understand, okay? You know what the great news is? there's not an infinite amount of objections that I need to learn the answers to. It's not like it's ever growing, ever increasing, ever getting bigger. It's not. It's a handful. That's it. So imagine for a moment that you were going to, I was going to offer you a role in a Broadway play. And it was of a top producing salesperson who happened to sell real estate. And it comes with a costume. It comes with props, like a little iPad. It comes with a car. It comes with all of these kind of costumes that go with this act. And like any other act on Broadway, I have to learn my lines. And it was a small book of lines, bro. It's maybe like 50 pages worth of lines. And you look at me and you're like, how much does this Broadway show play? I'm like, how much you want to make? You're like, I don't know. Want to make $1 million. Great. Pay $1 million. But you're going to be auditioning with 20,000 other people. And there's only 100 spots for the role. Because in my marketplace, there was 20,000 agents in the multiple listing service, and only 100 of us, myself included, did more than 20 million in volume. You either get the part or you don't. Let me ask you a question. Over the next 6 months, how would you study those lines?
Like a maniac?
Like a maniac. Would you be chanting in front of the mirror? Yes. Would you pull aside your significant other and be like, hey, or your uncle, your sister, your cousin, hey, let me roll through this with you? Would you record yourself doing it? Would you maybe hire a coach? Would you practice with your costume on?
Yep.
Would you practice with your props? Yes. That's what this is, guys. The marketplace rewards people who reliably perform. I'm going to say that to you again, not because you didn't hear me, but because it's like the truth. The marketplace rewards people who reliably perform. What does the word reliable mean? Dependable. You can count on me. I'm going to execute every single time. Why is it that some people in movies get paid $30 million and the guy in the back makes $500 just to stand there? Because the person who makes $30 million reliably performs every single time. You know Tom Cruise is going to perform. You may not like him or love him. He's going to perform. You know Denzel, he's going to perform. You may not like him, but he's going to perform. Correct? So make the decision, bro. Go pro. No half measures. Why'd you get into this thing to go halfway? Don't do it halfway. We didn't come here to participate. We came here to dominate, team. All right, it's going to be great. Your boy's out. Peace.
Thank you.
Later, everybody.
Thank you.